Hello. So today we are going to start up the ATR from Microsoft Flight Simulator from cold and dark. We are going to be following our nose around the cabin to a certain extent because there is no documentation for it yet, and the procedures inside the cockpit, the checklists are incomplete. There are huge chunks missing, so I'll be following my nose in certain places, and I'll explain where that is as we get there. So let's go and get inside the aeroplane first. I will be using shortcut keys as I move around the cockpit, and I am following some written notes. I will put a link in the video with the URL so you can follow the same checklist, and I will warn you the checklist will evolve over the coming days. So it's going to be interesting, let's put it that way. Okay, so the first thing we do is press Control and 3, which goes to the tablet in the aircraft. We're going to go to the aircraft tab in the tablet, and we're going to go and make sure that ground power is available to us and that the wheel chocks are in place. We are now going to press Control and 6 to go to the overhead panel above the pilot and the co-pilot, and we're going to go and uncage the battery switch and switch the batteries on inside the cockpit. When you do that, you will notice that various systems will slowly boot up around the aircraft and makes funny noises. That's entirely expected. So if you press Control 6 again, we're back looking overhead, and you can see that external power is available. So we're going to click on that, and a lot more systems suddenly come to life, and we're suddenly looking good. While we're waiting for things to boot up around the cockpit, we'll press Control and 4, and we will busy ourselves with programming the MCDU, the flight management computer. So if we select FMS1 at the top left, you then get this initialization page. So we say init on that page, and the first thing we need to do is initialize the position of the aircraft. So we'll click on the soft key next to POS init. So then we can click on the GPS position, or the soft key next to it, and that will put it in the scratch pad. And then to transfer that, we click the soft key next to the field at the top for the initialize position field, and it drops the value in. We can then return, and the next thing we're going to do is flight plan initialization. So then if we go into the route page, we can see where we're going from and to. So we are at Stansted. The ICAO code for Stansted is Echo Golf Sierra Sierra. We're going to go to Edinburgh for this example launch, and we're going to, the ICAO code for Edinburgh is Echo Golf Papa Hotel. So then we can drop that on top of the from to field, and it will fill both bits in. Okay, we can invent a flight number, we don't have to. We can drop that into the flight ID, and we can execute this at this point. So we've put the departure and destination airfields in, so we're now seeing the legs page, or the flight plan page. If we want to say how we are going to depart from Stansted, we click on the button next to it, and we can choose the runway we're leaving on. So say we say runway 22, and the standard instrument departure, so we'll say the BKY5R, so we choose the soft key, and that shows the summary of what we've chosen at the top of the screen, and we can execute that. So now we can see the flight plan is actually filled with all of the waypoints for that standard instrument departure. So we go to the next page, and then you can see there's the discontinuity, so that's the gap in the flight plan before we get to Edinburgh. So the system doesn't know how to get to Edinburgh from the end of the standard instrument departure. So we'll go and click on Edinburgh. We'll say we're going to arrive in Edinburgh on ILS into runway 06. We'll use the AGP E1E standard approach route, and we will execute that. So then back on the legs page, go next, and the discontinuity is still there. So say we wanted a waypoint mid-route, say the Trent VOR for example. So we'll go TNT, which is the ICAO code for Trent. We'll drop that on top of the discontinuity, which will push it down. Now there's more than one Trent, so we want the one that's in England, which is EG. So then we select the soft key next to it. So we've now got Trent, and it's pushed the discontinuity down. So to remove the discontinuity, we press the clear button and select the discontinuity we want to get rid of, and then we can execute our change. So now our flight plan is essentially complete. We still need to tell the MCDU about the aeroplane though, so we go to the performance section, and you can see there are some V-speeds that we can program in to help us do the takeoff routine. So if we go and press Control and 3 and go back to the tablet, and we can look in the performance tab of the tablet, and that gives us our V-speeds of 105, 105 and 112. So we'll go back to Control and 4, brings us back in here, so 105, 105 and 112. Now notice these fields we are filling in are square boxes. That means they're mandatory. So then if we go to performance initialization, that all looks fine. We can then go to weight. So you can see it, you can key in the 0 fuel weight, fuel on block and gross weight, but there are hyphens in them, not square boxes, so they are not required. Okay? So we are basically done. We can go to leave this on the flight plan page now, and we can get on with what we want to do. So if we then press the F key, we're looking back up in the cockpit, and I'm just reading through my notes. We're going to go back overhead, so Control and 6. We're going to go and turn the seatbelts on. So the seatbelt sign is down here at the bottom of the third column on the overhead panel. Next thing we do is turn the beacon light on. You will notice the beacon light is already on. That's very unusual, so I wonder if that's an actual bug in the aircraft. You wouldn't think the beacon light would be on as soon as you have power, because that's essentially telling the ground crews we're about to start the engines, even though we weren't until in a moment's time. So, engine start, what do we do? We have several things to do, one after another. So we're going to press the pump for engine number 2 to power up the pump. Then we're going to turn the ignition system to start A and B, and then we're going to hit the starter for engine number 2. So you can see that's on. If we go and look down in the cockpit, you can see engine number 2 is coming up. Once it gets past 10%, you can move the condition lever by rolling the mouse on it to the feather setting. There's the tenths along the condition levers. If we go and look outside, you can see the engine spooling up. So once it gets past 49%, which it already has done, you can push it forwards again to the auto detent, and the engine will carry on all the way up to idle, as you can see is happening. Or it would have been idle if I'd had my throttles pulled back, which I hadn't. So we're not going to worry too much about that. Okay, so then we press Control 6. So we do the same again for engine number 1. So we engage the pump for the engine. The ignition system is still on. And then we hit the starter for engine number 1. So then we look back down in the cockpit, and you can see the engine is accelerating. It's gone past 10%. So we can now push this out to the feather setting, and then when this goes past 49%, we can safely advance this to the auto setting. Okay, so once the engines are up and running, you can actually go and turn the ignition system off. Notice the starters have switched off on their own, and so have the fuel pumps have gone dark, which that gives you an idea about the basic operation of this aircraft. Is these lights are in a safe position if they are dark. That's kind of how they should be. If they are lit up, they require attention. So you can see there's lots of things to go around and look at. There's the hydraulic power, there's the electrical power, there's the generators, there's the probe heats, there's the windshield heating, there's the oxygen system, and then down here we've got the master arm switch. That should have been earlier really, so that's completely missing from the checklists that come with the aircraft. So we can see external power is available and it's on. We can turn it off now because obviously the generators are up and running. So that can come off and that fault light will go out on the generators, yeah. So at this point, we're more or less ready to go. So I'm just going to quickly double check through my checklist. So on the way to the runway, we need to calibrate the altimeters. So we press B to do that, and you can see the calibration changed. So that's just a shortcut from the simulator. We set the flaps for takeoff to 15 degrees. So we should be able to see that happening. We set power management to takeoff. You can see that's having a bit of a fit here. There's obviously some sort of control that I haven't configured properly somewhere. So you can see, yeah, flaps are selected at 15 now. We set the parking brake to off and gust lock to off if the gust lock is on. So that's the gust lock and this is the parking brake. So the gust lock stops any of the control surfaces from moving around in the wind so they don't damage themselves. So you can see as soon as we do that, if we come off the parking brake and we roll the throttles forwards gently, and we're not going anywhere. And why would that be? Let's go and have a look at that aircraft tab. We've still got the ground power connected outside and we've still got the wheel chocks, and as soon as we remove them, we're off to the races. So we're going to go and taxi out to runway 22 here at Stansted and just take the aircraft down the runway and see how we get on. So we're just going to taxi out. We have to follow this zigzag course out to the runway. You can see the flight plan is indicated, so we could, while we're on our way, we could be pre-configuring the autopilot. So as we press buttons on the master control panel, you can see them lighting up here. So we could go and select our target altitude. So we'll say several thousand feet. We're not actually going to fly the whole flight in this demonstration. We're just going to get off the runway to show you the general idea of how things work. So should we do vertical speed as well to show you that? So we'll set vertical speed to go for, say, 2,000 feet. Well, no, 1,500 feet would be enough, wouldn't it? So we're going to go for LNAV mode, which is lateral navigation, so it should be following the flight plan. Something else we could do along the way is actually set heading mode and go and use the heading bug. So we want the heading bug to be on 22 degrees, or sorry, 220. I think it's actually 222 is the exact direction of the runway at Stansted. So we'll just wait until we're lined up. So this is just a backup really. So we'll spin this round and get the heading bug going in the same direction we're going to be going. Okay. And it'd be interesting to see what happens when we engage the autopilot. Before we do that, let's go and switch on the yaw damper as well. Is it going to let us? I don't think it's going to. Not yet. So as I said, there's elements of this that I'm not sure of because they are not documented. So we're going to ease the throttles forwards. We may not be able to have the yaw damper until the autopilot's on. So we're going full throttle. We're looking at the V-speeds. So we'll pull back. And we're in the air. Gear up. Pull the throttles back. Trim the aeroplane. The beep noise is the trim. It sounds a bit like a Nintendo. Autopilot on. Yeah, yaw damper has come on automatically with the autopilot. So we're in LNAV mode. We're in vertical speed mode, climbing out to our target altitude. It's interesting, isn't it? So let's have a look from outside. So if we have a look at the EFIS display, we should be coming up to a turn. And here we go, the aeroplane. The flight director is kicking it in. Look, it's going to begin its turn to join the next leg of the trip. So I'm going to leave it there this evening. It's about time I went and got some sleep. Hopefully you enjoyed this. We'll be looking at it in lots more detail and figuring out more and more about the systems of the ATR over the next weeks and months ahead. We'll do some proper flights from end to end and take it through its paces properly. But so far I'm actually quite impressed with it. Yes, it's not study level, but there's enough here for most people to keep them busy and to have fun with. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there and we'll see you soon.